Hello there, Ray here, and today I will be showing you a farm that allows you to collect one of the rarest mobs in the game. And this is a baby zombie riding on top of a baby chicken. These mobs can actually be obtained in vanilla survival. Although you've probably never seen these in your world, or even heard about these type of mobs, because they are so extremely rare, and even under ideal circumstances, they can be very difficult to obtain. The reason why getting a baby zombie to ride a baby chicken is so difficult is because of all the zombie spawns, 100% of them, of zombie variant, only 5% of those will be a baby zombie, or a zombie baby. And of 100% zombie spawns, only 0.25% of them will be a baby zombie riding a chicken or a zombkin. And of that, we have only a 0 to a 0.25% chance that the baby zombie will be riding a baby chicken, and this is called a zombie. The way that these come about is that when the game chooses to turn a baby zombie into a baby zombie riding a chicken, it can either have the baby zombie and the chicken both spawn into the world, so they're both new, or it can have the baby zombie be placed on a pre-existing chicken. So if you have an adult chicken in your area, then the baby zombie will be attached to an adult chicken, and it'll turn out like this one. But if you happen to have a bunch of baby chickens in the area, then the baby zombie will be able to ride a baby chicken in the area. For zombies to spawn, it's dependent on the player actually having baby chicks in the area, so there is as low as a 0% chance of them spawning. And same goes for any type of zombie that has any special abilities such as this one, where this zombie has a jack-o'-lantern head on him, which only occurs on Halloween, and there's only a 2.5% chance that a mob that will be able to have a jack-o'-lantern's head will actually spawn with one on its head. And on top of that, it's also having an iron sword in its hand that is also enchanted. So the chance of this type of mob being spawned in during the day of Halloween, which is only one day out of 365 days, is as low as 0 up to a 0.000078125% chance. So it's extremely rare to actually find this type of mob in the game. So the zombie pigmen also have this ability since they are a type of zombie. And here you can see we have the pigman, the baby pigman or the pig baby, and then we also have the baby pigman riding the chicken or a pigkin, and then we have a baby pigman riding a baby chicken or a pig key, and this is just another variation of the pig key. And you can see that he got his golden sword, but his golden sword is also enchanted, which is just a little bit more rare than a golden sword by itself. Now we also have the villager variation of the zombie. So we got a villager zombie or a bombi, and then we got a baby bombi, which is a bomb baby, and then we got a baby bombi riding a chicken, which is a bombkin, and then we got a baby bombi riding a baby chicken, which is a bombki. And then we also have another variation of a bombki, which has the iron sword, which is enchanted, as well as the jack-o'-lantern head. Because obtaining these mobs in survival is so difficult, I built this farm here, which allows me to actually be able to obtain the pigman type, as well as the zombie, as well as the villager zombies, all from this one farm. Although this farm is quite complicated, the concept is pretty simple. All you need to do is have a zombie spawn near a baby chicken. So there is two ways that we're having the zombies being spawned in. So the first is by the portals. Every portal block has a chance of spawning in a pigman, and therefore if we have a pigman spawn, and if the pigman that spawns in using the portals is near a baby chicken, it will be able to have a chance to have a baby pigman riding on top of the baby chicken. So the way that we are getting the zombie as well as the villager zombie variations of the chicken jockeys is by having the pigman zombies being moved towards the center. Then they are dropped down into a crusher down here, and since they are still aggressive towards the player up above, and they're also taking damage, this means that they are capable of calling in reinforcements. So since we have a large area up here that is dark as well as it has a solid top block, we can have the pigmen down below call in reinforcements, which are zombies, and therefore they will spawn up in this area. Then we can have these zombies pathfind towards a villager in the center here, and then they will be able to drop down in with the pigmen and get crushed themselves as well. This will allow us to get the pigmen as well as the normal zombies as well as the villager zombies. Now all we have to do is have baby chickens near these zombies when they spawn in to get our special chicken jockeys. Now here we have a system that does just that. So we have a clock here which will have an item which is on top of a pressure plate, and once the item is removed from the pressure plate, let's see, if we come in and remove the item from the pressure plate, then it'll just dispense out another item. And this will allow it so that all the baby chicks that are in the system will be removed. This is because after 20 minutes, the baby chicks will grow up into adult chickens, and then we will not get the type of jockeys that we want. Now, once the system is activated, it will go through to each compartment, and it will start activating certain stuff. So the first thing that happens is that the signal comes through here. Turn on this clock here, which will allow the dispenser to start shooting out eggs here. And the eggs come from these chickens over here, which are laying them. And then at the same time, the signal also comes through down here, and it'll just dispense out a minecart, which will remove any chickens that are inside of these compartments. So each compartment here, each module has a holding cell, and there is a dispenser down here which have minecarts in it, and they will just dispense up, and then the system will remove any old chickens. Now the new chickens will come in when they are dispensed out of these eggs, then they'll fall through this tripwire here, and then from here they will be activating a system which will count out the chickens so that we have the right amount, and then they will be able to get picked up by this minecart, which is going back and forth here. Once inside the minecart, they will be able to get over top of this hill here, and then they will continue on. There's just a button here which will activate a new minecart. Then the minecart will go along until there is a point where the track allows it to be able to turn towards it. Then the minecart will run up against this cactus here, and at the same time there's an activate rail which will activate the minecart and dispense the chicken over here. Then the chicken will fall through this tripwire right here, which will close off the compartment so that the chick cannot run away. So when the tripwire is activated, it does two things. It actually comes back over here and hits a monostabler, which will allow this piston to drop a redstone block in this position here, and it will turn the rail here so that any new coming minecarts will go around the system and not drop off any more chickens. And what it also do will be activating this piston, which will push a block into this location here so that the baby chick cannot move or leave this area, and it will also move this rail out of the way. Now these baby chickens are ready to become chicken jockeys. If any baby zombie that spawns above or below, therefore it'll have a chance to be able to ride this baby chicken here, and then once that happens, it'll be tall enough to activate this tripwire here, which will do the same things all over again. But what it will also do is when it removes that block back over to this position, turning the rail back over here and bringing it so that the rail lines up over here, it will also come down and hit this torch, and this is what will dispense one of the minecarts. Then it will come up against the solid block here, and then it will pick up the chicken as well as the zombie that's riding it, and it will take it down that way to a different system. Now if I summon in one of these chicken jockeys so we can see what happens, the minecart comes out, picks up the chicken jockey, goes through a checker, and if it's a chicken jockey, then it will be able to turn this way, and if it's not, it will just get sent down and put into the lava down here to remove the minecart as well as any chicken on it. Then the chicken jockeys will be pushed towards the center here, and they'll be dropped off in this holding bay. Now the player will be sitting over here, he'll be AFKing, going back and forth, and the pigmen will be aggro towards the player, and the player will be facing this direction with the right click button held down. And then you can see that when the chicken jockey hit there, he also dispensed out a new name tag for the player, and the player will move forward. It'll stop for a second so that the player can actually dispense or put a name tag onto the chicken jockey. Then it will continue pushing the player back and forth on this minecart so that any pigmen that are aggro will move towards the minecart. Now the chicken jockey that got named here, so that it no longer will despawn, is moved over into this direction. Now from here, we will move the chicken jockey into unloaded chunks. This is because after 20 minutes, the baby that is in the chicken jockey will be able to grow into an adult chicken, and therefore it will turn into a normal chicken jockey. Since we want a baby chicken jockey ridden by a baby zombie, we will have to store it into unloaded chunks. So that's what this is for. We'll just send it off into unloaded chunks, and you can store them there. But you can also visit them. If you have it so that you lower your render distance and then you go into ghost mode, you can actually look at entities that are in lazy processing chunks, and therefore they will not be able to grow up. So the baby won't be able to grow up, but you'll still be able to visit your special types of chicken jockeys. So to get started, we have the player riding here in the minecart. Then all you have to do is aggro. We have a named pigman over here. This will cause all the pigmen that are inside the portal farm to be aggressive towards the player. You can see that it's kind of laggy and slowing down the game, but once the player goes back and forth on the minecart, he will draw out all the pigmen, and then they will walk on top of these trapdoors, and they will just fall into this walking canal, And from here, they will just walk over towards the center when the player goes across the center. And the player reaches both ends. He doesn't have to go quite as far since the pigmen are able to track him even from the corner portals. Now when the player goes towards the center, he will allow it so that the pigmen will be able to track him, and they will go over top of this empty spot here where they will just fall through. So if I get into spectator mode, I can come down here and you can see that the pigmen will walk across and they will just fall down into this water stream here, and any zombies that spawn from down here will just walk up this glass platform here and eventually walk over into here trying to track this villager over here. Then all of them will just walk and get pushed by this water down here. Now any pigmen that are on top of chickens will be able to swim on top of this water here, and they'll get pulled over to the side, and we just have a 1 meter high hole plus a half meter, and this way they can get through and they can come and get placed over here. So you can see we have a pigman that is riding a chicken over here, and this is just because he just spawned inside of the portal. He didn't come from down below the portal. He spawned in the portal, then he just happened to pathfind and get placed down in here. Now we'll also catch baby pigmen, just because baby pigmen can sometimes get pushed over here, and you can also catch the zombie pigmen in this trap here. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 farm, maybe 3-in-1, because you actually can catch pretty much every type of the zombie pigmen that you want. You can catch the adults, the babies, the jockey types, and even the baby pigmen riding the baby chicken types as well. I made this farm last year for the Halloween event, but I never got around to building it on our server, and I don't think I'll get around to building it this year either. But it was a lot of fun to build, and I will probably look into it more in the future. But it is designed for 1.8, but a lot of the same concepts will work in 1.9 and above versions, and there's even some more added to the game since 1.8, such as that the baby villagers, or any villager that is a zombie, will actually have its career code on, so that you can get different types of baby villagers, which is kind of neat, as well as you can get the husk, in 1.10, which is more challenging too, as well. But the baby villagers that are zombies are actually a little bit more rare than the husk themselves. But you can also try to get left-handed mobs, because in 1.9 and above there is a percentage of the mobs having the weapon in the left hand. And there's also other things, such as the new green villagers, which you can get now, get the baby villagers that are green as well. If you would like to look at this farm in more detail, I will provide a world download in the description. There you have it, guys, a farm that allows you to obtain one of the rarest mobs in the game. So if you found this interesting, show me a like. If you'd like to see more unique farms like this, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Bye!